Hi, amazing students. Are you ready to take your English fluency to the next level? Do you sometimes feel nervous or unsure when speaking English? Don't worry, you're not alone. Fluency isn't just about speaking fast or using fancy words. It's about feeling confident, expressing your thoughts clearly, and connecting with people. In today's video, I'll share some powerful and easy-to-follow tips that will help you improve your English fluency step by step. These tips are practical, fun, and designed for learners like you who want to see real progress. Before we dive in, I need your support. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. At English Chronicle, we're all about making English learning simple and exciting. Your subscription helps us keep creating high-quality content to guide you on your journey. And if you've been with us for a while, welcome back. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends who are also working on their English. Let's grow together as a community. Are you ready to discover the secrets to speaking English fluently and confidently? Let's jump right in and start this exciting journey together. First, know that what is fluency? Fluency means speaking English smoothly and without stopping too much. It's not about speaking perfectly or knowing every word. Fluency is when you can share your thoughts and ideas clearly, and people can understand you easily. It's about how natural your speaking sounds and how confident you feel when you talk. Fluency has a few important parts. First, there's pronunciation. This means saying words correctly so others understand you. Then, there's intonation. The way your voice goes up and down, which makes your speech sound more natural. Another part is rhythm. How you group words together and take small pauses while speaking. Remember, fluency is not about speaking fast. It's about speaking at a speed that feels comfortable for you and your listener. A big thing to remember is that fluency doesn't mean being perfect. Even native speakers make mistakes, pause, or forget words sometimes. What matters is that you keep going and don't stop because of small mistakes. For example, if you can't remember a word, try using a simpler word or explain it in a different way. The goal is to keep the conversation moving. Fluency also means knowing how to use English in real-life situations. This includes greeting people, having small conversations, or knowing what to say in different situations. It's not just about grammar or vocabulary. It's about using English to communicate naturally and comfortably. So, to become fluent, focus on building your confidence, improving your pronunciation, and practicing speaking as much as you can. Fluency takes time and regular practice, but every small step will help you get closer to your goal of speaking English with confidence. There are many ideas about fluency that can cause confusion for language learners. One of the most common ideas is that fluency means speaking perfectly without any mistakes. However, this is not true. Fluency is actually about being able to express your thoughts and ideas clearly, even if you make a few mistakes along the way. In fact, making mistakes is a natural part of the learning process. It's important to remember that everyone, even native speakers, make mistakes from time to time. The goal is to be able to communicate easily and confidently, not to speak without errors. As long as you can get your message across and understand others, you are considered fluent. Another idea is that in order to be fluent, You need to know all the rules of grammar. Many learners feel pressured to memorize every grammar rule before they start speaking. While it is true that grammar plays an important role in learning a language, it's not the only thing that determines fluency. Fluency is more about being able to use the language in everyday conversations and understanding what others are saying. You don't have to know every single grammar rule perfectly to be fluent. In fact, it's often better to focus on speaking and listening in real-life situations, where you can practice using grammar in context. Over time, you will naturally improve your grammar as you keep practicing. Some learners believe that to be fluent, you need to have a huge vocabulary. While knowing many words can help you express yourself in different ways, it is not the most important factor when it comes to fluency. You don't need to know every word in the language to be fluent. In fact, you can be fluent with a smaller set of words, as long as you can use them effectively in a variety of situations. The key to fluency is being able to communicate your ideas clearly and understand others. It's better to know a smaller number of words and use them well than to try to memorize a huge list of words that you might not use often. Another idea that people often have is that fluency happens quickly. Many learners expect to become fluent in just a few months or weeks, but the truth is that fluency takes time. Learning a language is a process that requires regular practice and exposure to the language over a long period. It's not something that happens overnight. Sometimes, progress may feel slow, but that doesn't mean you're not improving. The more you practice, the more you'll improve, even if it doesn't feel like it right away. It's important to stay patient and keep going, even when you feel like you're not making progress as quickly as you would like. Finally, many learners think they need to speak exactly like a native speaker to be considered fluent. However, this is another misconception. Fluency is not about copying the exact way native speakers talk. It's about being able to communicate effectively, no matter what your accent is or how closely your speech resembles that of a native speaker. Native speakers themselves have different accents and ways of speaking, depending on where they are from. Fluency is about being able to get your point across clearly and understanding others, regardless of how closely your speech matches the native accent. So, don't worry if you don't sound exactly like a native speaker. As long as you can communicate, you are fluent. By understanding and breaking down these common misconceptions, language learners can focus on the true path to fluency. Fluency is not about perfection, but about communication. It's about using the language regularly, practicing speaking and listening, and staying motivated even when it feels difficult. The more time you spend using the language, the more confident and fluent you will become. So, don't be discouraged by these myths. Keep practicing, and you'll find that fluency is within your reach. Becoming fluent in a language takes time and effort, but it is possible if you stay patient and keep practicing. One of the most important things is to practice regularly. Fluency doesn't come from studying for a few hours and then forgetting about it. To get better, you need to practice every day, even if it's just for a short time. You can practice speaking with friends, listening to songs or podcasts in the language, reading books, or writing in a journal. The more you expose yourself to the language, the easier it will be to understand and speak it. Another key part of fluency is immersion, which means surrounding yourself with the language. You can do this by watching TV shows or movies, talking to native speakers, or even going to a country where the language is spoken. The more you use the language in real situations, the more comfortable you will become. Listening to native speakers will also help you learn how they speak naturally, including new phrases and expressions that are used every day. Listening is also very important when learning a language. The more you listen to the language, the better you will understand it. You will start to notice patterns, improve your pronunciation, and get used to the speed of normal speech. You can practice listening by watching shows, listening to music, or following along with videos in the language. This will help you understand how the language sounds and how people speak in real life. Speaking is the most important part of fluency. To become fluent, you need to speak the language as often as possible. This might be scary at first, especially if you're afraid of making mistakes, but it's important to remember that mistakes are normal. The more you speak, the more confident you will get, and the easier it will be to share your thoughts. Try to find chances to speak every day, whether with a friend, a language partner, or even talking to yourself. The more you practice speaking, the better you will become. Building your vocabulary is also important. You don't need to know every word in the language, but it's good to learn words that you can use in different situations. Focus on learning the most common words first, and then keep adding new ones over time. Instead of memorizing long lists of words, try to learn them in sentences or while speaking with others. This will help you remember them and use them in real conversations. Grammar is important, but you don't have to know every rule perfectly to be fluent. It's more important to use grammar in conversations, even if it's not always perfect. Over time, you'll get better at using grammar naturally. The main goal is to communicate clearly. Don't worry if you make mistakes while speaking. Just keep practicing and you'll improve. Achieving fluency takes time, so it's important to be patient. There will be moments when you feel like you're not improving, but don't give up. Celebrate the small wins, like being able to talk for a few minutes in the language or understanding a TV show without subtitles. These small victories show that you are getting better, even if it feels slow. Setting realistic goals can also help you stay focused. Instead of expecting to be fluent quickly, aim for smaller goals. For example, you might want to be able to have a short conversation by the end of the month or learn a certain number of new words each week. These goals will help keep you motivated and show that you're making progress. Fluency doesn't happen instantly, but if you practice every day, listen to others, speak as much as you can, and stay patient, you will get there. Keep going, and over time, you will see your ability to speak the language improve. Fluency is about regular practice, staying motivated, and using the language in real situations. With time and effort, you will be able to speak confidently and communicate easily. Listening is one of the most powerful skills you can develop when learning a language. It might not always feel like you're making progress, but the more you listen, the better you will understand the language. Listening helps you get used to the natural flow of speech, different accents, and how words are used in real-life conversations. It's often said that listening is just as important as speaking because it helps you understand the language and respond more naturally when it's your turn to speak. When you listen regularly, you start to notice patterns in the language. You'll hear common phrases, vocabulary, and expressions that are used by native speakers. This is important because it helps you sound more natural when you speak. You may also start to understand the meaning of words even if you don't know them yet, just by hearing them used in context. Listening helps improve your pronunciation as well. When you hear how words are pronounced, you can start to imitate them, which will make your speech clearer and more accurate. Listening also trains your brain to process the language more quickly. In conversations, people speak at a fast pace, and it can be hard to catch every word. But by listening regularly, you get better at understanding spoken language, even when it's spoken quickly. Over time, your brain becomes more skilled at picking out important words and phrases, which helps you understand what's being said, even if you don't catch every single word. Listening doesn't just help with understanding the language, it also boosts your confidence. The more you listen and understand, the more comfortable you will feel speaking. You'll feel less worried about not understanding because you'll know that with more practice, you'll get better. It's also helpful to listen to different types of content, like podcasts, music, TV shows, and movies, so you can hear how people speak in different situations. This will help you understand various accents and learn new vocabulary. One of the best ways to improve your listening skills is through immersion. Surround yourself with the language as much as possible. This could mean listening to podcasts or music in the language, watching movies or TV shows, or even following YouTube channels that focus on the language you're learning. When you listen to native speakers, you learn not only the language but also the culture and ways of thinking. Immersion allows you to understand how people really use the language in daily life, which is important for becoming fluent. Listening also helps you feel more connected to the language. When you hear people speak it, you start to feel like you are part of the community. This connection makes you more motivated to keep learning, and it encourages you to keep practicing. The more you listen, the more you'll enjoy the language and want to keep improving. In short, listening is a powerful tool in learning a language. It helps you understand how the language sounds, how words are used, and how conversations flow. It makes you more confident, improves your pronunciation, and trains your brain to process the language faster. By listening regularly and surrounding yourself with the language, you can improve your language skills quickly. So, make listening a part of your daily practice, and you'll see how it strengthens your overall ability to speak and understand the language. Repetition is one of the most important tools you can use when learning a language. It means repeating something over and over again until it becomes easier to remember and use. When you keep practicing a word, phrase, or sentence multiple times, your brain starts to remember it better, making it more natural to use in conversations. The more you repeat, the stronger your memory becomes, and the easier it is to recall the information when you need it. For example, if you are learning new vocabulary, saying the word aloud, writing it down, and using it in different situations all help you remember it. This makes it easier to use the word naturally, even in real-life conversations. The same goes for sentence structures and grammar rules. Repeating these patterns helps you get used to them and makes speaking or writing in the language more comfortable. Repetition also helps with listening. If you listen to the same conversation or story multiple times, you start to recognize words and phrases more easily. You get used to the way the language sounds, including how words are connected, and this helps improve your listening skills. When speaking, repetition can boost your confidence. The more you repeat certain words and phrases, the more comfortable you become with using them. It helps you speak more smoothly without having to stop and think too much about what to say next. In short, repetition is a powerful way to improve your language skills. It helps you remember words, understand grammar, improve pronunciation, and speak more naturally. The more you repeat what you've learned, the easier it becomes to use the language with confidence. Repetition is the key to making steady progress and becoming fluent. Practicing speaking out loud is one of the most effective ways to improve your language skills. When you speak out loud, you train your brain to get used to the sounds, words, and sentences of the language. It also helps your muscles, like those in your mouth and tongue, get used to forming the words correctly. Speaking out loud makes the language feel more natural and comfortable, which is very important for becoming fluent. One of the main benefits of speaking out loud is that it helps with pronunciation. It's easy to misunderstand how words are supposed to sound when you only read them silently or hear them in your head. But by speaking out loud, you hear yourself, and it's easier to notice if you're saying something incorrectly. You can correct your mistakes as you go, which helps you improve faster. Speaking out loud also helps you speak more clearly and confidently, making it easier for others to understand you. Another reason to speak out loud is that it helps you get used to the rhythm and flow of the language. Every language has a natural speed and pattern. Speaking out loud allows you to practice this flow so that when you have conversations, it will feel more natural. It also helps you become more comfortable with the sounds of the language, making it easier to understand when others speak to you. Speaking out loud also improves your ability to think in the language. Many learners translate words from their first language into the language they're learning. This slows down communication and makes speaking feel harder. But when you practice speaking out loud regularly, you get used to thinking directly in the language. This makes it easier to express yourself without having to stop and think about translations. To practice speaking out loud, you don't need to wait for someone else to talk to. You can practice on your own by reading books, repeating phrases, or even talking to yourself. You can describe things around you, have imaginary conversations, or practice giving short speeches. The key is to do it every day, even for just a few minutes. This consistency helps you get more comfortable speaking and improves your fluency over time. In short, practicing speaking out loud is an essential part of language learning. It helps improve your pronunciation, boosts your confidence, helps you get used to the rhythm of the language, and trains you to think in the language. The more you practice speaking out loud, the more fluent you will become. So, make speaking a regular habit, and you'll see great improvements in your language skills. Immersing yourself in a language is one of the most powerful ways to learn it quickly and effectively. Immersion means surrounding yourself with the language in all aspects of your life, so you are constantly exposed to it. This helps you pick up new words, phrases, and even the cultural context in which the language is used. The more you immerse yourself, the more natural the language will feel. One of the easiest ways to immerse yourself is by consuming content in the language. This could mean watching TV shows, movies, or videos, listening to music or podcasts, and reading books or articles. By doing this, you'll hear how native speakers use the language in different situations. You'll learn new vocabulary, understand how sentences are formed, and get used to the natural speed and flow of the language. The more you listen and watch, the easier it becomes to understand and use the language yourself. Another way to immerse yourself is by speaking with native speakers or other learners. You can practice conversations online, join language exchange groups, or even travel to a country where the language is spoken. Speaking with others gives you the chance to use the language in real-life situations, which helps you learn how to communicate more naturally. It's also a great way to learn slang and informal expressions that you may not find in textbooks. Reading in the language is another form of immersion. Start with simple materials like children's books or articles, and gradually move on to more complex texts. Reading helps you see how words are used in different contexts and allows you to improve your vocabulary and understanding of grammar. It also helps you get used to the structure of the language, making it easier to speak and write. If possible, try to change your environment to include the language. You can change the language settings on your phone or social media accounts, or even try to think and speak to yourself in the language. This constant exposure will help you think in the language, which is an important step towards fluency. Immersion helps you feel more connected to the language and culture. The more you experience it, the more motivated you will become to continue learning. You'll start to understand the language on a deeper level, not just as a series of words, but as a way of thinking and communicating. In short, immersing yourself in the language is one of the most effective ways to learn. It helps you improve your listening, speaking, reading, and understanding of the language in real-life contexts. The more you surround yourself with the language, the faster you will progress and the more fluent you will become. So, make immersion a part of your daily routine and you'll see amazing improvements in your language skills. In conclusion, achieving fluency in English requires consistent effort, patience, and dedication. It's a gradual journey that involves regular practice, repetition, and immersion in the language. While the path may be challenging at times, staying motivated and focused on your goals will help you overcome obstacles. By continuing to engage with the language and staying committed, you will see steady progress. Fluency is not a distant dream, but a reality that becomes closer with every step you take. Keep pushing forward, and in time, you will find yourself speaking English confidently and naturally. Thank you for watching. I hope you found these tips helpful in your journey to fluency. If you have any thoughts or questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Keep practicing, stay motivated, and I'll see you in the next one.